like it was bad. I was like, oh man, my hair's really short. So you'll see in the movie like, shh. But a lot of people, the treatment's out there at what it is. The reason people are like, well, it's a period movie, but you got tattoos. But the whole bottom line, this whole movie is a video game. On the end of the movie, it's a video game. So you don't know if it's in real life or if it's not. So you'll see everybody dressed up in suits and stuff. And, we're kind of testing out a video game. And we'll make some, I say there's some continuity issues, or however you say that stupid word. I said it just like that in the movie too, continuity, right? Continuity. Yeah, thank you. And so we said that, so if there's continuity issues in the video game, then we're covered in the movie. So, if stuff don't make sense and match, it will though, but we were kind of jamming pretty quick and stuff. So, but yeah, I guess 2011. Yep, so if you guys want to help out with questions or anything like that, if you guys have, or, I can keep mumbling and, yeah.
Can I be in the movie?
Can you be in the movie? Well, it's over, man. You're too late, dude. Too late.
What's your next movie?
Next movie? Hopefully, if we get the number 2 one going.
How'd your fight go on Wednesday night?
Fight was good. Yeah, it was in Houston, so we had a lot of fans out there, which is great, and it was good. Just being the main event is always hard because you got to get there at 5 o'clock, and then you got to fight like 10:30, 11 o'clock, and you got to. My first fight, I hate. It was horrible. And the reason why I say that is because, not just because I get hit, because, it just, I did so much for fans. It was like, I got riled up in my head. I treated it more like a street fight, and HDNet was there. Was a lot of pressure. There's so much stuff going on. People flew all over the place. So I was trying to sign autographs. Literally, I'm coming out. I'm getting ready to fight, and then a fan's like, "Hey, excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt you. Can you sign this real quick?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll sign it real quick." And then she's like, "Oh, why don't you smile?" I said, "I'm ready to go out and fight right now. I got to get my mind right, So my mind was a little off a little bit, but I didn't want to be rude either to the fans and say, "No, you can't sign that." So I decided, when I'm the main event, I'm just going to disappear, Like, I don't want to be around in the beginning. And afterwards, I signed everyone's autograph. The cage was just loaded full of people. And, media was there. HDNet should cover. They'll show my fight on Inside MMA probably. What's today?
Friday.
Oh, maybe today. I don't know. I'm not prepared. I'll text Ron Crump. You guys ever watch that?
Yeah.
The Inside MMA?
Yes.
Yeah. Just checking. It's a little survey. Let me text him and ask him when, just in case. Probably next Friday. So what I do now is one of my friends, Mike, who's a pro MMA guy. He told me just rest up, try to stay up late at night and then sleep till like really late and try to stay, in bed until about 4:30 in the afternoon. And then, like get up, walk around, go to the event. Then I just pretty much lay down and try to sleep. And then until about an hour before, and then I'll get up and start, pumping up and getting ready. Like the last fight, I was really pumped up, ready to go. I was ready to walk out, and they're like, intermission time, 15 minutes. And I was like, oh. So I had to get warmed up again. But it went good. Every fight's a little different, Every fight's a little different, so it just depends what someone does. If they rush you, kick you, punch you, all that stuff. And you always have haters. There's haters out there right now talking crap. But the bottom line is, my friend Ike, Hurricane Ike, he's a fighter, and he's my sparring partner. And he said, hate me because you ain't me. So that's like, that's a good little thing. Hate me because you ain't me. But all talk is good. I think any talk is better than no talk, So, but anyway. Yeah.
Was it difficult to do movie stunts after focusing on MMA?
Yeah. That's funny you asked that because, I don't know, Dave knows too. When I went on Power Rangers, I was kind of like, I was kicking stunt guys. Stunt guys were complaining, and because I was kind of from, the real karate and all that. So I was like hitting them and kicking them. They're like, ease up, man, it's Hollywood. And I was like, oh. So then I started learning like Hollywood kung fu, Hollywood kung fu. And I started learning that, and everything in TV's wider, and the kicks are wider and all that stuff. Well, then I got out of that. Then I started training MMA again. So everything was hard. I mean, I'm sparring hard guys. Like, I'll spar Ike, which is, 250, but he's a good guy. I mean, good martial artist. And so I'll spar him. So when I spar someone lighter, I'll kick him, not that hard, because I'm used to kicking Ike and end up like knocking him out or something stupid like that. But when I went back to the movie, the first fight scene was kind of like that. I was like, I broke some guy's, cracked some guy's rib, and I felt bad, but he told me kick him, like for real, and I was like, well, all right. So I kicked him, and then, like for real. I mean, I'll try to get behind the scenes, man. Like I kicked him, and he's like, and we're supposed to continue on. He's like, right in the middle of the director's like, cut. I'm like, sorry, man. I really didn't even kick him, like mean to kick him hard, but it's hard to control Muay Thai kicks, like in Hollywood. You can't do, you got to like flick the kick. You can't just swing your leg up, So I was kind of jacking people up in that movie. There was another scene too. You'll see when I'm fighting these ninja warriors. One of the guy, really good guy. He like choreographed everything, and his name's Sock. And Sock choreographed everything, kind of like Koichi Sakamoto, who did the Power Rangers. These guys are incredible. So he was doing the tonfas. And I told him, I said, go ahead, man, hit me. Hit me with it, because it's padded. I was like, just hit me hard. Well, sometimes like when I get hit, my natural reaction, you just kind of go a little harder, And so right in the middle of the take, he hit me, boom, and the tonfa swung, but like the tip of it's wood. So everything else was like foam, and the tip hit me right behind my head. It was like boom, and I was like, bam. Like the director was like, oh, Sock, the way you sacrificed that was such a good, amazing shot. He's like, So, but I mean, he was down for it. He was like, most of those guys, like if you make it look real and stuff, but sometimes when you make it look too real, it just doesn't look good. Like, Hollywood Kung Fu is a lot better. But I remember that as soon as he hit me, it was like clink, and I was like, right. I kind of lost my cool. And some people do ask me why I held on to this guy so long afterwards. And that's just my trademark, man. That's what I do. The first fight, the ref's like, stop, gotta pull me off. What was the second fight? What happened on the second fight?
Buffalo,
yeah.
He warned you.
Yeah. And then, I barely need him. And then the third fight, that knockout, I still was on top. He's trying to pull me off. And then this one, it was funny though, but I just held on to him for a little longer. I couldn't hear. I told the judge afterwards, I couldn't hear. And he's like, I remember that one next time. So, but yeah, the transition from, real to movies is always different. I did a fight scene in this movie. I don't know if you guys watched, but Jeff Curran, real good mixed martial artist. We did like a MMA fight scene. We did some arm bars and triangles and roll defenses, and the fight scene I thought looked really good as far as it looked like a real MMA fight, and it looked good. So we planned it, and me and him did that scene, and that was a lot easier working with someone who was, highly skilled as Jeff Curran. Jeff Curran's, he's a high caliber fighter. His jiu-jitsu is awesome. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He has his own school, huge school, and then Jeff Curran trains a buddy of mine, Bart, who was fighting August 18th. Bart's just a wild, crazy dude. He's the biggest fan, this guy, Bart. He's the biggest fan. We were in Vegas, and he wanted to get tattoos. It says morphin' time on our wrist and stuff. That was after a few drinks. I was like, all right, man, let's go. But yeah, he's just wild. He texted me today going, okay, cool. All right, Tommy. He calls me Tommy and stuff. And he's just funny, man. He's a good guy. So he fights August 18th, and he's a good high caliber fighter. I mean, he's got like 33 wins, I think 13 losses, and he's fighting a kid who's 10-0 right now. So, but he should do really well. So he's crazy. Most of these fighters though, they watch Power Rangers, and they don't really say, oh, I don't watch it. There was a time period where kids kind of grew up in high school saying, stupid show, dude. And then they're like, watching it at home. Watch that show, man. Now, who? No, I don't want to go home and watch it. So they passed that time now, where they're fighters. And they're like, yeah, man, I watched it. It was a cool show. And so, I think having it come back and all that stuff is kind of cool for, like, your kids, to watch the show with the show that you watched, So it was pretty cool. Any other questions?
What's your ultimate dream matchup for your career in the MMA?
Ultimate matchup?
Yeah.
I want to get it. Before I put anything ahead of me, I want to get a Strike Force deal. I want to go to Strike Force, and I want to fight like a Herschel Walker type. You know, I want to fight like a baseball, football player, and then just go from there and see. You know, everyone's always the reason why I think people talk crap or call me out is because everyone wants to call me out because they want to fight. You know, and they're trying to get like a high caliber 200,000 hit YouTube, you know, fight. You know, I mean, some of these fighters fight and they get like 20 hits on YouTube. You know, so but just go from there. You know, and my whole thing is, I know the fights are going to get longer. Someone asked that. I forgot who I was talking to, but the fights are going to get longer. They're going to go the distance. You're going to get bloody. Going to be elbows. Going to have cuts and scratches and all that stuff. And I had my buddy Ike, who fought Artinius on the last show. He lost because due to excess bleeding. I mean, he's like a brother of mine, man. I mean, we train with this guy, and you know, I'm working his corner, and just blood, you know. And you look at that though, and being an actor, man, you're like, oh God, you know, I don't want my face hanging off like that. But he was cut from here and here and here and here, and just blood everywhere, eyes swollen. He's a hard fighter. I mean, and he was winning that fight, and the other guy was kind of cheating. But so I had to go back in the room with the doctor and stitch him up, you know. And we got some hardcore fighters, and there's no joke when he's pulling. The doctors, fight doctors, they're not like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. Okay, I'm gonna give you a shot. They're just like, you know, they're like rough. You're a fighter, suck it up, you know. And it's like, oh, needles are going to numb it, and man, usually I don't like blood, but I mean, I had his blood all over me. I was helping him, and he's like a brother of mine, so it didn't bother me. But it bothered me that he got cut up and stuff. So as the, you know, challenges are going to be more challenging. So, you know, it's going to go the distance, and you know, like I always say, win or lose, I'm there. I just want to fight, and I want to fight hard, but you know, I don't want to just jump into something. I want to jump into something that makes sense for me, you know, and I want to get paid to do it. You know, if I'm going to get cut, I want to get paid to get cut. I don't want to get, you know, there's not enough money for me. You know, I'll probably spend more on a doctor's bill to fix my face, you know. So we'll just see what goes on. Rocky Long is my coach, and he's fighting on Strikeforce August 21st. He's probably the undercard, but it's probably going to be a really good fight, and it'll probably make the air. You know, so that's going to be the Strikeforce on August 21st. I was offered to fight for Strikeforce on August 21st, but I had this fight August 4th, and sometimes my fights were back to back. Like May, I had 2 fights in May, and then I filmed the movie right before, so I couldn't really train, to be honest, man. I was like, you know, it was hard to train. I was beat after the movie, just trying to train and run, and then waking up and remember my lines and all that stuff. Because I don't like, when I read a script, I can't read. No, I'm just kidding. When I read a script, like I didn't have like the lines down until the day before. So I didn't have like all my lines down. I read the whole script, but I'll take like 10 pages and memorize them, you know, and I'm sure that's what we used to do on the show all the time, you know, like, oh, big cockroach and stuff like that. And then remember my lines, more from time. And then, but I didn't remember my lines, so I had to study my lines at night and then try to run. And then I was kind of mad because the director wasn't letting me out. And I was like, I gotta have 2 fights coming up. And then if you get knocked out, you know, then you're suspended for 60 days. So then you sign a contract for the next fight that you can't make, and then everyone just starts getting sued, and everyone starts getting upset at you. So back-to-back fights sometimes aren't too good, you know, because you don't know the outcome. In MMA, I don't care what anyone says on the internet. They're like, typing. MMA, anything can happen. You can get hit. Those little gloves are no joke. I mean, they're like, you know, tiny, small gloves, especially in the division I'm at, where I shouldn't be. I should be in the smaller division. Because my division weight class is 206 to 265, you know, so I mean, I need to be in I can drop to 205 easy. I only walk at like 215, 220. So Ike lost 30 pounds like in 2 days. I'm like, I don't know how he does it. I don't know, laxatives or something, I don't know. But these guys will do anything to make weight. I still think that whole process of weighing in is absolutely stupid, because you weigh in the day before, and you come back the same weight the next day. So you're starving and just to make weight at like a 155 fighter. And then all of a sudden, then you guys get IVs right afterwards, you know, to get your blood, get the doctor sticking IVs, and you get all your water back, and then you're almost the same weight you are the next day. I think if it was my choice, I would do weigh-ins that day of the fight. You know, let's weigh in. What do you weigh? That's your division. Because it's just kind of, to me, it's like some guys can lose. I don't know if you know Thiago Alves. He's, you know, he fights at 170, but he's a big dude. He walks like 220. Anderson Silva, who's fighting this Saturday, okay, fights 185. He walks at 230, 240. He's huge. And so, like, you know, you look at a 185 fighter and you're like, dang. You know, so it's just either 185 or 205 for me should be the division.